Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Now today I'm very excited because I get to talk about something that I've been thinking about talking about for a while now ever since I heard about it, but I have never really talked about it. The Waltons. So, I heard the other day that they were going to do a Waltons reboot. And then I heard that it was the CW that was going to be doing it. And I'm like, oh, the CW's going to be doing this reboot. You couldn't have trusted Hallmark or CBS for that matter, because CBS is, um, they are a part of it. Like they created the Waltons. You couldn't have done that. You couldn't have trusted, CBS. I, I mean, technically, yes, the CW is a part of the CBS network. It's like an off-branch thing, but the CW isn't really known for things like this besides Seventh Heaven, and so I was like, I don't know, it's a bit skeptical, and then I saw it, but first I watched the original, um, because I was like, all right, well, I said to my mom, why don't we watch the original first and then we'll watch this new one, just so we, can kind of give it some credit where it's due. Um, and let me just tell you, it's not a shot for shot remake, which I think, I don't know. I think this would have been better as a shot for shot remake. By the way, spoilers. Um, when I watched the original, I just know that the original has a lot of charm to it, a lot of emotion to it, and you can tell that they're all working very hard at making sure that there's a lot of emotion without making it seem too emotional. And they do a really great job of making their performances very believable, which makes it a lot easier to talk about. And then you see this new reboot. And let me just tell you right off the bat, they get you hooked with the fact that there's like this beautiful shot that's, that's going, and it's really nice. It's like a drone shot, and there's fog on the trees, and that's a title sequence. And I thought that was a really nice way of having a title sequence. And I thought that that was a really great way of opening up your movie. I love the cinematography. That's going to be the first thing I'm going to point out. Is it's the cinematography is the absolute best. It really is, and I have to say it gets you hooked. Um, what else did I like? I want to start with what I liked first. So I like the cinematography. The acting wasn't horrible, but I feel like the writing could have been a bit better. I don't know. I think I was expecting a little too much from this reboot. I don't know what I was really expecting. Um, what else do I like? I I think I really just like the camera shots that they shot this film with. I think it makes it really nice, but it gives you that weird edgy feeling of being like, okay, this feels weird, Like this film, I don't know if you would call it a film. It's more of a special. Um, this special is shot so differently than what I was expecting it was going to be shot like, and it felt nostalgic, but it also felt really weird too. I can't put my finger around it. It just felt illegal to watch. Even though I watched it on the CW, I didn't watch it live. I watched it the day after. But the shots they were really cool. Let's just be honest, they were really cool. And honestly, one of the things I would say is that if you are a hardcore Waltons fan, you might want to read the book first, because the book will fill you in on some things. Most of this special focuses on the book. It does a really great job of that. But about halfway through is when it sort of forgets the plot and it goes in a different direction. And this is where I'm going to start to talk about the bad things. there's a lot of bad things about this film. First of all, while the acting is average, you know, I still think the plot points are a little bit weird. You see, in the original film, um, this, you know, like in the original, there was a simple plot, okay, these kids are waiting for their dad to return home. And it was very simple, right? Clean cut, dry. Sorry, clean cut, dry. And there was more interactions with the kids, and I think that it was just better acted in the original, even though the acting is okay here. It's CW acting, so it's not going to be fantastic, right? The lighting wasn't that bad either. I'll say that the lighting was actually pretty decent and believable. Um, a lot of people were saying that this remake is too polished, and I have to agree. There's a lot of things that it's like I've seen that on an Instagram post, or I've seen that on a Facebook post. Like I've seen like these things, like these pictures and these decorations. I've seen them before. Um, but I gotta say, this reboot isn't bad. It definitely isn't bad. But right off the first shot, you don't get the same vibes. Like I thought, wait, was I watching a different show? Half the time, and I think this is just the fact that the CW just has this on their shows. Half the time, it didn't feel like I was watching the Waltons. It felt like I was watching a different show altogether. It didn't feel like the Waltons did, and I think that's because I didn't read the book, and I should read the book now. But I think that's why I was a little bit confused on a lot of the plot points. But thankfully, my mom was there, and she was like, "Oh, that was in the book, and this wasn't in the book, and that was, and this wasn't." And but the first shot is very different from the original, because in the original, by the way, spoilers. In the original, you have them walking a cow to its stable. And in this remake, you're just automatically in the house. And I thought, well, that's kind of weird. I don't know. I'll give it credit. It didn't try to do the Lion King way of doing things, but it did go off the rails a lot of times. Like that whole white buck ghost thing. I swear the CW, like this is what I mean when the CW is only known for their Supernatural and Superman stuff, because that's literally them adding in their signature into the show or the special or whatever you want to call this. I thought that was really weird. The green screen effects were really weird too, with the driving. It's not bad. It's weird. It gets like a weird nostalgic vibe that's, and then also I want to talk about the plot here for a second, because like I said, the plot forgets itself after a while. It's like, okay, there's things that are clearly happening that are from the original, but they're happening at different points in this reboot, which I'm like, all right, that's fine. But then halfway through, it just completely forgets that it's the Waltons. And then it tries to steer its way back at the very end. It tries to get back into what it was going to do and what the actual plot of the Waltons' homecoming is. And it just shoehorns in the rest of the plot to the point where it's like, it's all exposition. And then John Boy is able to find John pretty easily. And that was not even a scene in this film, in the original film. And sorry, I gotta sneeze, and it's just, I'm not gonna let it. So that's another thing. It's just it just feels like it forgets the plot at times, and then goes off for a while and meanders a bit, and then gets back to the point. And then once it gets back to the point, it just shoehorns in what plot needs to be added, like what exposition is in there. I will say though, as far as the way things look, yes, it is polished, but I don't mind it so much. I really don't. But I feel like I should because I did grow up with the old version. But I didn't watch the like there wasn't any new episodes or specials out. It was just I saw the reruns. So I was able to watch the reruns. That was nice as a kid. So and my mom basically wanted to be Olivia Walton. So that was the life that we lived for the most part. Was we lived on a farm, and of course things happened, but we're here now, right? So, um, but yeah, that's and the plot isn't bad, and the new things that they added in resemble old things that were added in. There's a lot of casting choices that they made that I actually was really happy about, like with the Baldwin twins. I don't know who casted them, but these these ones were truthful. Were, uh, they were truthful representations. But then you get things like the pool table scene where it's like there are Christmas lights up there that are not from that era, and there is a whole dead ass pool table there, which I don't think was a thing back in 1933 during the Depression. There's a guy named Ike who has a pool table in his shop, right, where he sells sugar. Um, yeah, no, I'm sorry. That a pool table? Seriously? And the pool table looked pretty brand new too. It looked pretty fresh looking. I don't know. That's where it started to lose me, where it's like there's things that were in the film that were weird, that weren't in the first film. And then it's like, okay, why is that in there? The original has its flaws, but I don't think that it's ever as bad as this reboot is. This reboot isn't that great, but it isn't bad. It's okay. It felt at times that it was going through a lot of the motions and just not capturing the same vibe as the original did. It just they changed too much of it to where it just felt like it lost its charm that the original had. And the original had a lot of charm with adding in religious aspects and with adding in a closeness to the family. The family felt a lot closer together in the original, and they felt like a big family. Whereas in this reboot, it doesn't feel that way because the kids can curse, which was weird for me. I guess that was in the book. And like there were words that were said that I just don't think were said back then because people talked a lot differently in 1933 than they do now. So I'm sure half the words that we have now weren't even a thing back in the day. So yeah, it doesn't give me the whole depression vibe. Now, what I did like about this film was the fact that it showed more of Walton's Mountain. And what it did do, which I thought was actually pretty interesting, was it gave more lore to the Walton family. And it really expanded upon, what we all kind of hoped was going to happen in the original series, but it just kind of it expanded upon it. And yeah, and I think it also took little bits of the show and added it into there too. So like there was a lot of like little nodbacks and little Easter eggs here and there that people like longtime fans would pick up on. Um, I just think that the execution was a little flimsy when it came to Mary Ellen because I feel like her character, her whole thing was, I want to be more than just somebody who does dishes. I want to be more than somebody, it's like she really pushed that female power movement thing, which is that's the only way on how they're going to shoehorn in the political correctness. And they did do that. They did. Don't get me wrong. They did. Um, but yeah, so is it a bad adaptation? No. And honestly, my mom and I asked her, okay, so what would you rate it at as, like out of 10? She said a 6, and I said a 6 as well. Because it's neither bad nor is it good. It's just okay. And if they're going to make a show out of it again, they're going to have to do a lot of explaining, because Mary Ellen became the first female uh what was it? The first female airplane driver, or sorry, the first female pilot. And it's like, oh, okay, that's not a good storytelling thing. That was Ben's whole thing. Or no, it wasn't Ben's. It was a different one. It was, oh, I'm forgetting his name. Oh, I don't remember his name. I think it was like Jake or something. No, not Jake. I'll have to edit it in post to tell you what the name was. Um, Jason. No, was it Jason? Wanted to become a pilot. Jason Walton. It was it was the littlest brother. That's the one it was. It was the tiniest brother who I was that Ben? I swear Ben was. I don't know. I'll have to rewatch the Waltons. He was the littlest guy on there. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Well, this video. Sorry, I keep saying episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, thank you, and I'll see you guys in the next one. But before I do, I want to talk about one more scene. The graveyard scene was a little weird. At the very end, I couldn't tell what day it was. But I wouldn't mind a Waltons movie set in present time. That wouldn't be bad. Where they're not in the Depression era and they talk about Netflix and chill, or they talk about TikTok. I wouldn't mind that if they did an episode about that where they all go into the fucking future. But no. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video of the bloom of. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, thank you, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, bye.